Hi guys, Mulos here. So today's video, I'm just going to talk a little bit about how to compare different countries' economies and other variables or metrics. So the reason I'm making this video is I think recently we're in the news for having the best performing currency, where our currency had rallied 18.5% against the dollar from January 22nd to September 1st. And you know, I mean, national pride, we're all very happy, but in debates involving countries, this was just being thrown around as if it's the only metric to measure against other countries. I think it was being used to very, very senselessly in a lot of inter-country debates. All right, so I am just going to show you a more practical way to stay level-headed when doing comparisons of one country to another. There's this website. I'm going to leave the link in the description. My Life Elsewhere. We can just try to compare. You can compare any country to any other country. So let's just compare Zambia to Kenya. You know, you get to see a lot of interesting comparisons. Let me just reduce the size of this. Okay, so here is Zambia compared against Kenya. I've just picked it randomly. I was in Kenya early mid this year, during their 5 day, was it 5 or 6 day holiday? It was a very, very funny period and the wrong time to go to Kenya. But anyways, you can see here that you can compare the country, you can move it around, and you'll be able to see some comparisons in size. So Zambia is about 1.3 times bigger than Kenya. You're able to compare the size. The population, it gives you the size of Kenya compared to the size of Zambia. So Zambia is like 30% larger than Kenya. Kenya has a population of 53.5 million people. Zambia has a population which is 36.1 million people fewer than Kenya. So comparing size, yes, Zambia is bigger, but okay, so yes, Zambia is bigger. So what else can you compare? You can compare the quality of life if you like. All right, so here are some really, really interesting stats. The ones which are green are where they're showing that Kenyans have it better than us. The ones which are red is where the Zambians have it better than the Kenyans. And some of the ones we have it better is here. We have fewer maternal deaths during pregnancy. Zambians produce more children than Kenyans. Zambians, our per capita is higher than that of Kenya. And on this one, I really, really do wonder. It says that more Kenyans are unemployed than Zambians, but stats on employment are really, really difficult and tricky. I personally don't believe these stats. But anyways, so here and then again here on the GDP and all, you know, sometimes GDP is a very, very arbitrary measure of wealth and all. I mean, one mine in Zambia could produce the entire wealth of the country and pay practically zero taxes and all, whereas the Kenyan economy is more manufacturing based, service industry based and all. So sometimes this having a high GDP in a land of poverty versus another country having a lower GDP with seemingly more wealth to go around. So sometimes take these with a pinch of salt. All right, so that's Zambia compared to Kenya. Now let's compare to South Africa. The countries which people are really, really making random, arbitrary comparisons. I think there was South Africa, Kenya, South Africa, Malawi. Anyways, so here we go. Okay, so on the size comparison, South Africa is larger than Zambia. So South Africa is like 1.6 times bigger than Zambia. So they've got 1.2 million square kilometers versus 753,000 square kilometers of Zambia. So we are like 61% the size of South Africa. The population of South Africa is 56.65 million, and it's 39 million people more than Zambia. So South Africa is huge, both in terms of size and population. Then here, if you look at the quality of life, you get to see that it's a little bit more balanced. The ones which are in the green, South Africa is better than us. The ones in the red, we are better than South Africa. So this is something that really, some of these take with a pinch of salt, but this could be an apartheid legacy issue. I know everyone will say apartheid was like 30, 40 years ago. You need to move on, but historical inequalities do take generations and generations and generations to break. So apartheid really set black South Africans and back decades and decades. So sometimes things like this do happen. Oh, so anyways, these are the stats. These are the comparisons: South Africa and Zambia. Okay, so now we compare the quality of life. So the ones in green, South Africa has it better. The ones in red, we have it better than South Africa. So here it basically says Zambia has a lower unemployment rate than South Africa. So this one really, I mean, I know a lot of Zambians do migrate to South Africa for work. In fact, a lot of Africans migrate to South Africa for work. So it's, I mean, would they be migrating if there was work in Zambia? That's a question that someone needs to answer. Here on the tax rates, it's saying that Zambian tax rate is lower than South Africa's. But speak to any Zambian entrepreneur, employee, or anybody, and one of their number one complaints is the tax rate in Zambia. No one will say, okay, South Africa has a higher tax rate, so ours is just okay. Absolutely no one will agree with that. They'll say our tax rate is just too high. Then some of the other metrics, I don't know if this is a plus or a minus, that Zambians have more children than South Africans. Then South Africans are more likely to be obese than Zambians. And then here the HIV rate. We did quite well fighting HIV AIDS pandemic, but sometimes that's can lie. Then the other one we were comparing against is Malawi. Okay, so here we go, the size comparison. Zambia, Malawi. So you see that Malawi is it's a small country, lovely country. I actually do plan or intend to go there. I know it's a lovely country, but let's be honest, it's a small country. So Malawi has a population 118,000 square kilometers versus Zambia's 753,000 square kilometers. So Zambia is like 535 times larger than Malawi with a very similar population. So, oh, Malawi actually has more people than Zambia. I did not know this. Okay, Malawians, you guys are really doing the thing. Anyways, so let's compare now the quality of life. So here, the ones in green, Malawi has it better than us. The ones in red, we have it better than them. So in terms of electricity, we are more likely to have electricity than Malawians. This unemployment rate here really I wonder where they get this from. So we have a GDP of this, and this could be attributed to the simple fact that we have a lot of mining in Zambia, and whether or not that mineral wealth does trickle down to the Zambian people is debatable and all. So sometimes these really exaggerated GDP metrics, I don't really believe them. So here, Malawi has a better tax rate than Zambia, so they're saying a Zambian is more likely to be literate than a Malawian. So these are some of the things we need to see. Then also here we have a less maternal mortality rate. Anyways, so these are some of the metrics. But another metric you need to consider is the cost of living. So this one is really important, and this is where you're able to see that basically the Malawian a meal at a restaurant or place will cost you less than in Zambia. Fast food combo deal, Zambia is cheaper. A bottle of Coca-Cola, Malawi is cheaper. So these are silly metrics, but it's really important to know how much a Coca-Cola will cost you outside the country. But anyways, bread is cheaper in Malawi, cheese is more expensive in Malawi, milk is cheaper in Malawi. So even things like fuel is cheaper in Malawi. This is something really weird. I did not expect this. Although transport costs more in Malawi than in Zambia, and a new car in Malawi will probably cost you more than Zambia. So this again, at face value, it could either be that Zambians get better deals when ordering second-hand reconditioned vehicles from Japan, or Malawi are buying cars from South Africa, or the tax rates are higher, or anything like that. So sometimes take these with a pinch of salt. Then here, if you look at the cost of internet, I know the cost of internet in Zambia is cheaper than quite a number of countries. Accommodation in Malawi is cheaper. Okay, accommodation in Malawi is way cheaper than in Zambia. Then also here you have issues of utilities, gas and electricity, and all those things. Malawi is cheaper than Zambia. And even education, Zambian education is cheaper. Primary school, middle school, Malawi is cheaper. So these are interesting things where you can actually get comparisons, country comparisons, and make better informed decisions. Because Zambia is a lovely country. There are a lot of things which we do better than quite a number of countries. But I think when having debates or discussions with other countries, it's always best to focus on the actual positives in our country versus the actual negatives in the other countries, and just pick something as arbitrary and random as an exchange rate. Well, I'll show you one country which a lot of people do make fun of their exchange rate and all, but this is Nigeria. Nigeria is a very, very weird country. So Nigeria is a very, very weird country. First, in terms of size, Nigeria is actually a large country. It's larger than Zambia, so it's 923,000 square kilometers, and their population of 214 million people versus Zambia's population of okay, I need to pull out a calculator just to find out Zambia's population, but we are about 18 million or something like that. Now, when you come here to quality of life, you'll see here that the greens outweigh the reds. So things are slightly better in South Africa. I mean, in Nigeria, in terms of the HIV/AIDS pandemic, the people's life expectancy, the Nigerians. So here, the GDP, GNP. Nigeria is an oil producer, so they produce like a shit ton of oil. So that could in turn be more than the copper and other minerals we mine. So this could just make it look like Nigeria is doing way better than us. But again, like I've said, GDP is a really, really, I don't like it as a measure of a country's wealth or inequality. Then here, our tax rate in Zambia is higher than that of Nigeria. But then it says that the unemployment rate in Zambia is lower than that of Nigeria. And I think these figures are just cooked up by somebody. I need to find out where they come from. In terms of poverty, they're saying that Zambian has a lower poverty rate than Nigeria. In terms of maternal mortality, Zambia has it better. Now, this one here could be very, very questionable because Nigerians are really, really literate, educated people. So it could be an issue of that north-south divide up there, or some areas people are less likely to be educated because of insecurity and stuff like that. But when Nigerians are educated, they are educated. When they're not educated, they are very uneducated. And so here, of course, in Zambia, it's like Zambians are really, really out to populate and fill the world. I mean, I did not know that. It's like we beat everybody in terms of number of children. Then here, access to electricity. So Nigeria has more people being connected to electricity. But then again, Nigeria has got serious electricity deficits. So I know a lot of gen sets are out there and stuff like that. So some of these stats maybe, I mean, at face value, you can wonder about them. Here on internet, I mean, a Nigerian is very likely to be connected to the internet. Then here, access to improved drinking water. This one is questionable because Zambia has got a lot of water resources. So Zambia has a lot of water resources. I'm not sure about Nigeria. Then now here, if we come to the cost of living, so this is the thing, that Nigeria has got a terrible exchange rate, but from what I know, the cost of living there is way lower. So here, basic meal at a restaurant, fast food combo, Zambia is cheaper. Bottle of Coca-Cola. It's like every place has cheaper Coca-Cola than Zambia. This is something really, really weird. The bottle of water. Bread is more cheaper in Zambia. Local cheese is cheaper in Nigeria. I did not know that. Milk is cheaper in Zambia. Eggs are cheaper in Nigeria. Anyway, so you see there, you can compare a number of these things. Of course, apples being cheaper in Zambia, maybe because we are closer to South Africa than Nigeria is to them. Bananas, why bananas would be more expensive in Nigeria, I really don't know. Then even here, tomatoes, I know Nigeria did have a tomato shortage at some point. Anyway, so these are some of the food metrics. If we're checking here on transport, gas is cheaper in Nigeria. Public transport is way cheaper. And this one here on the new Volkswagen 1.4, this one, take it with a pinch of salt, because this is most likely a second-hand reconditioned vehicle from Japan. What they get in Nigeria, I really don't know. Then here on the housing, internet connection should be cheaper in Nigeria. So this one, I wonder. Issues of a one-bedroom apartment. Okay, Nigeria does have expensive accommodation. So this one is okay. Zambia is okay. Utilities, you find Nigeria is cheaper. It could be because the state utilities don't actually service the population, or they're actually more efficient and service the people. So stats at face value sometimes are just weird. So then even here, the issues of education, it's cheaper to educate your child in Nigeria than in Zambia. And here, entertainment and sports. Okay, cappuccino in mid-range area is about the same. A packet of cigarettes is cheaper in Nigeria. Gym membership is cheaper. Movie theaters cost more, but then again, Nigeria does produce more movies does produce more movies than Zambia. Anyway, so I thought I'll just share this site where you are able to just compare countries at face value on size and the economy and the quality of life. So I hope the video has been helpful, and I look forward to your comments. Thanks for watching. Mulos, bye.